I spent a total of 3 days on the Texas-Mexico border, embedded with a militia group who was trying to help stop the influx of migrants. And while I was there, one of them mentioned that a child had just 2 days ago drowned in the Rio Grande while their family was trying to cross into Texas. I called Border Patrol about this to verify. Sure enough, I get this email from Customs and Border Protection saying a woman was encountered from Nicaragua claiming that her child was swept away by the river. Rescue efforts were conducted, but with negative results. We don't have any additional information at this time. Super sad. Not the first time we've seen a child drown in the Rio Grande while trying to illegally cross into the U.S. It just reminds us of how dangerous it is to make that illegal trek into the U.S. Out of 3 days on the border, it was action-packed. I mean, it was never a dull moment. So I want to show you guys what all happened on day 3. Natalie, Denise, and I filmed a vlog as we were driving back to Houston.
We're walking up to the boat landing on Rio Grande where we saw migrants swimming across on day 1. This is day 3. We see Mexican police tackling some apparent migrants who had gone down to the shore. What was your take on that, Natalie?
It was surprising because they were actually taking the right steps to actually deter people from crossing from Mexico to the U.S. So it was something different that I've ever seen before. Because usually you don't have the federals on the other side actually aggressing people who are trying to come over.
Yeah, they tackled one guy to the ground.
Yeah.
Apprehended another guy too. Those suspects were making a mad dash up off the shore. They knew that those police were after them.
Yeah, and the thing is that was it was an unmarked vehicle, and then all of a sudden you just kind of see it like swoop in and aggress and pursue the migrants that were trying to come over.
And then all the marked police trucks came and joined.
That's right. Yeah, all of the marked police trucks started to join in. What was a little bit confusing to me is, the notable cartel members.
To go do independent journalism, can't do it without the sponsors of my coverage. Really appreciate Approve My Pet. Turn up your volume for this. Studies show the presence of a service animal can provide relief for anxiety and depression. We made it easy to register your own pet as a service animal. This service quickly lets anyone register their animal as an emotional support animal for housing or as a psychiatric animal for travel. Imagine how convenient having a registered service pet will be. If you're tired of paying ridiculous pet fees, you'll love it. American Service Pets has a special offer good for the next 24 hours. Go to www.approvemypet.com or visit that link down below.
What was a little bit confusing to me is, the notable cartel members that were kind of just spotting around. One was fishing, one was on a bike.
You think the fisher was a cartel guy, huh?
It could be. I mean, it's a very weird place to fish. It could be a pure coincidence that that's where he fishes, but to me, that's a very strange position to have when there's so many other desolate places and spots to fish at. And he chose that one.
Yeah. So when we rolled up, here, when migrants climb the boat ramp, they just walk straight and they can go through this entry. We saw quite a few people lingering on the riverbank on the Mexican side, and one guy was wading into the water with a stick, apparently testing the depth of the water. It looked like they were about to swim across,
Right.
Until all of those police swooped in. Then all the people lingering on the riverbank disappeared. Here's the legal way to enter the U.S. It looked like there were people about to try to illegally cross the U.S. got scared away by the Mexican side.
Yeah, and that doesn't usually happen a lot, right? It doesn't happen too often that the Mexican federals actually go after people who are trying to cross.
So it was good to come down to the border with expert Natalie Denise, who's been on the border many times.
Yes. I wouldn't
second trip to the border. First trip to Maverick County, Eagle Pass. My first time was down in the Rio Grande Valley, where it's bad. A lot of migrants pouring across, but it's clear they're pouring across here too, because we start walking along the riverbank and we start seeing piles of clothing.
Right.
So explain all this clothing on the riverbank. How does that happen?
Well, typically the migrants cross over with the clothes they have on.
It's all clothing strewn and piled up.
And then obviously they're going to get wet. And so they always come through, I'm not sure if you captured footage, but they always come through with a very tightly sealed bag of dry clothes. And from here, you know, I've seen it in Del Rio, which we were not in. We were in Eagle Pass, but in Del Rio and at Breach Point, I saw over and over again where migrants they would change out of their wet clothes into the dry clothes and just discard their wet clothes.
Too many teeny tiny shoes out here. Diapers, tiny underwear. I'm seeing so many little kids' shoes out here. Families apparently swim across the Rio Grande, take off their wet clothes and shoes, and then head into the U.S. Yeah, there's so many of them.
Careful with the step here. Pretty far down.
So climb up here.
Yep.
Fortunately, there are barbed wire fences to keep migrants from crossing. Sometimes those fences look a little trampled down. It's unclear why. Welcome to the great state of Texas. Land flowing with clothing. Lots and lots of clothing.
I'm just going to assume just because of them getting wet through the Witt River, that they just want to cross into some newer, fresher, drier clothes.
Right. Yeah, immediately having dry clothes on also kind of conceals the fact that they just illegally swam across.
Right. Yes, that exactly. I mean, they're going to go into processing almost immediately. So, with that being said,
well, if they surrender to Border Patrol or get tracked down by Border Patrol or National Guard, but some people just sprint away into the darkness.
Yeah, you're right. There are getaways that happen to find breach points where it's not secured or patrolled, and so yeah, you're right. Some do end up getting away. The count is not exact because it's really unquantifiable how many people cross into America and don't get recorded or reported. So yeah, that's unfortunately something that we are going to assume is astronomical, but we don't have a count on that.
Border Patrol numbers for border encounters for 2021 was about 2 million. 2 million border encounters. Those are people who either get accepted for asylum. They illegally cross and Border Patrol accepts them for asylum into the U.S. or they get sent right back home. But those are only the people that Border Patrol actually encounters. Those aren't the people who skate right on through without detection. So who knows how many people who have really crossed the border.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, and then there's you saw also that there could have been pickup trucks, like there are pickup vehicles that wait for these people to cross, and a lot of this is prearranged, that these pickup vehicles get coordinated and know exactly these illegals who cross in, they know exactly where to walk to and get picked up.
It looked like new fencing was being built up there. Rio Grande through those weeds. And here is the fence being built. That border wall was being repaired as well, it looked like. But the border wall ends. So, the wall and the fence, there's these various layers to make it difficult for the migrants. But that's also where all their clothes are. So they're coming right across right there, changing clothes, and then just walking around the wall.
Yeah, essentially, there are always going to be like breach spaces where you can essentially walk around the wall. So, and that's unfortunate.
Mexico? Cuba.
Luider Machado.
Cuban.
Cubanos. Last night, we drove further into Texas, like 30 miles inland in the ranch land. A lot of the issues the ranchers have are these migrants hitchhiking across their land, going through their fences. And we kept seeing damaged fencing.
You know, that is a problem because the ranchers themselves, they spend about $100,000 a year annual to keep their fences up.
A lot of these deer hunters, you know, they go out early in the morning and they get up in their nice deer stand and there's families in it.
A lot of these ranchers, they also have livestock, and so, you know, this presents a problem because obviously this livestock is held within,
and then the expensive animals get out. So we were witnessing some of that throughout Kinney County ranch land, and it was interesting that even that far inland, we would see some items on the side of the road, like discarded bags. So we're riding with the militia right now on the lookout for items that may have been dropped by cartels for migrants, or by coyotes or Catholic Charities, or whoever's dropping items for migrants.
Shirt, pants, Colgate.
Toothpaste. Hey, Catholic Charities, relax. It was a joke. I have no idea who's leaving these bags for migrants. Sometimes it's the migrants leaving the bags. Maybe they're getting picked up by someone, so they just drop this bag with their old clothes and their toothbrushes. Just leave it on the side of the road as they make their way into the U.S.
You can open them up and you'll find all sorts, fentanyl, cocaine, meth, you name it. That's, they package that up in the inside of that for drug trafficking as well. So, yeah. But you never really know, like, if that's actual,
Cocaine.
yeah.
What?
Or what?
It's supposed to be.
So this is supposed to be hydro flavoring for
a little care package.
Yep.
Usually you want to leave that stuff there, until they come back.
Well, Sean said recently that he actually found drugs in these when he opened them up. So he's like, just check one at least and make sure that. Okay, so yeah, that is tuna. So, so with that's gonna spoil, and that's.
Got
anything pertinent in there?
Yeah, that's actually orange flavor too. Okay, that smells so.
Eat that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Ugh. There's a fruit in there.
Lime.
Whoever leaves these packages will leave like canned tuna, a water mixin, lime, just very useful, I guess, food items. They'll leave those. They'll leave we saw packages of medicine, like allergy medicine, cold medicine.
So we didn't end up encountering any migrants in ranchland. And today, other than those people who appeared to be, they were about to swim across until police came in. But we did see like a good number of migrants underneath a bridge as we were driving through Eagle Pass. It looked like they had just been apprehended by Border Patrol.
Right.
Yeah. So I talked to Border Patrol about, how does it happen? What happens next? You apprehend these guys. How is it decided, and who decides which migrants get accepted further into the U.S. and which ones get sent back to their home country? We witnessed last time I was on the border, we witnessed Border Patrol contracted giant buses, school buses, that were loading up migrants on the border and shipping them to Catholic Charities. Then the migrants would walk out of Catholic Charities with an envelope that has their plane tickets into the heart of the U.S. So how does it happen that these people illegally cross
what's quite evident though is that there is some sort of coordination with the NGOs across the border. So these are Latin American, these are Latin NGOs, these are international NGOs, and non-governmental organizations are kind of like nonprofits. They are charities essentially, and so they will coordinate this with somebody. Somebody's like administering, like, this is your flight, this is your bus ticket, and when you get in, this is your sponsor. Like, that takes a lot of work for it to be very random and very often, So there's somebody on the other side that's also aiding and abetting this illegal crossing.
Well, it's pretty much approved by the Biden administration, so it's not. It's like these people are breaking immigration laws coming in, but Biden admin is giving it the stamp of approval. They're actually funding Catholic Charities, as it turns out. Catholic Charities is funded by our federal government, and they're working in direct coordination with federal border patrol agents to bring these people right into the U.S. So,
Right. It's very,
very interesting.
exactly.
What's the nickname down here for the Border Patrol? The Travel Agency or something? Travel Service?
Yeah, I mean it's not a good connotation, but unfortunately that's what the BP is treated like Uber, data entry.
Border
taxi.
Patrol has become the Uber for illegal immigrants.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's how they're being treated right now.
So one of the guys asked me what was the most surprising thing on this second trip, and I said, it was actually this. It surprised me to see the Texas National Guard working so hard. Those guys were out there hustling. They were chasing down the migrants. Border Patrol, I haven't seen that with them. It's like their job is not to chase these people down. It's to bring these people in. For as far as I can see, they're doing kind of the opposite of what a lot of Americans think they do, from my experience.
Yep.
Crazy. If I don't know, my source down in the Rio Grande Valley had filmed all those game warden vehicles filling out hotels. Game wardens are just filling out the hotel. There's so many game wardens staying down there right now helping with the border. So I reached out to Texas Parks and Recreation asking, when did this influx of game wardens happen to now assist Border Patrol?